said he was ready. He was here on time even.
I was
I've
totally
made you standing
on time.
here for 20 minutes.
That's okay.
Wow.
I got to wave to all my fans walking by and stuff. It was
like,
great.
You're Mr. Popular. Ever since that Sportsnet thing.
I like how two of your sponsors walked by today and
I know.
said hi to me first.
I know. As long as they keep giving me the money, whatever.
Exactly.
That was Scott McPhee from the Bicycle Shop.
Absolutely.
We're talking about, actually. It was great to see him
and
here.
Dave from Blackwater.
Dave from Blackwater,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm David Burrows for the Video Show Network, and this is my friend Jay Peckham joining me here. Pre-game, we're about 10 minutes away. Time to talk to you. Let's jump right in before we go to the out-of-town scoreboard.
Okay.
5-2 against Kitchener. It was Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I've been following along on Twitter. I don't know who this Sting updates guy is.
I'm not sure who does that
but
either.
He seems to have a lot of knowledge.
Yep.
And one of the things I saw, I don't want to make it look like I was smart and know what I'm talking about.
No, for sure.
But I follow
Sting
him
updates
quite well.
on Twitter. Absolutely,
And,
I follow him too.
Yeah, and he's saying that we need to see some more consistency in our offensive. And I say he, could be she.
Yeah.
Our offensive. What do you got to say?
Well,
about
no, and I think for the most part, I agree. I'm always a big fan of us when we're being aggressive and we're playing a lot in the forward zone. Like, I mean, when we're on offense and we're playing in their zone, we get a lot of chances.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, we get a lot of chances.
Sure.
One of the real benefits this year is I think we've seen an awful lot of shots on goal, and when we're up in the shot clock, things can be good. But the truth is that if we were a little more consistent, then more of those shots would transition into actual goals. Like, it's one thing to take 40 or 50 shots on goal, but if you're hitting a goalie right in the chest every single time,
it's not where it's going to go in.
That's not, you're never going to put a puck through a guy.
It's not a target that you want to hit.
So, and certainly we got some guys with some outrageous skills of finding that the smallest holes in that net in a goaltender's defense is, Fazio. I mean, how many laser beams have we seen from him that seem to find a spot that we didn't think there was a place to put a puck through there, and it did. So, and I mean, Rimsha's just as talented. And we've got some guys. Don't forget, Deneen from the point has found, some really small openings many times. But I think the challenge is, you're right. I think it's consistency. There's this. It seems to go in spurts.
Well, and while the Sting are doing well, currently, let's just take a look actually at see if I can pull it up here. My son producer is not here today, so I
So you got to do it on your own.
So I mean, Guelph Storm 28, 27, and 5, and we're 43, 16, and 4.
Yep.
So looking at the stats that way, you would think.
I would think a lot of things.
I don't like looking at those stats because when we have looked at those stats, and we've talked about it before, we'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
The consistency that we're not seeing, the consistency we do see is when they're playing a lower team, they seem to
not to do so well.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know where that comes from. If that's like, playing somebody a game of pool who doesn't know what they're doing, but these guys all know what they're doing, right? So
I don't know. Maybe I assess it like this. Have you ever tried to play cards? I mean, I'm a good card player.
Yeah.
I love playing cards.
You play poker?
And I play poker, and I read people, But you know what? Occasionally you'll get that newbie that comes in, and it's just inconsistent. They don't play by the rules. You can't figure it out because, they're just not doing it. They're not following, and sometimes they're harder to play.
Yeah.
When it's inconsistent, you never know what team's there. It's up, it's down. Sometimes they're chippy, sometimes they're not. You know what I mean? If they're not playing by the conventions of the game, then sometimes it's harder to do. It's harder to play. So, maybe that's part of it. Maybe we're coming up against these teams, and because the teams aren't following, that sort of standard OHL play, or maybe it's just they're having a bad day or something. Sometimes it's just a little harder to figure where they're going to be, and it can really throw a wrench in the works because you got to anticipate, and when you can't anticipate things, they can go sideways.
There's certainly a lot of
bit
predicting that
sometimes.
has to go out into a hockey game for sure. I mean,
100%.
That's Wayne Gretzky always said, that I knew where everybody was at all times on both teams.
Absolutely,
exactly, and that's what made him.
So play a team. So play a team where their systems are breaking.
That's right.
Where their systems are breaking down a little bit, and you can find that you can understand maybe a little bit about how that might be a little more challenging to figure out because there's a lot of random elements, right?
What do you think happens now? I mean, where the clinched positions are being put out there.
Yep.
Sting already know they're in the playoffs.
We know who's in, we know who's out. It's just a matter of.
And I'm not suggesting
that
there's anything, but do you think there's some kind of subconscious thing that says? I don't say this wrong, but. Are we not playing as hard because we
playing for
already
position
know,
so we know who?
Even though we already know kind of what's going on, but
yeah, but the thing is that I read the OHL report in their media releases where they're talking about the playoffs, and right now, depending with still 4 games left to play, I guess, or 3 games left to play now. We have 1 away game and 1 more, or no, maybe it's only 2 now. But at the time that they released it, there was 4 games still left to go, and there was a potential, depending on how those games went, for us to play up to 4 different teams in the opening round.
Yeah.
So I think is there some jockeying for position? Maybe. I don't know. I think more.
And honestly, that's fair game.
I think more. Yeah, sure it is. I mean, you got to be strategic. The idea is to go as deep into the playoffs as you can. So you don't want to play the Sioux in the first round.
Well, I was just going to bring up
that would not
really
be good. I don't think
we're going to end up playing them. So I mean,
but you don't want to take them first, right?
No.
I think you want to get in and you want to have. You want to have an opportunity to play some playoff hockey.
The longer you go, too, I mean, the more chances you stand of being hurt or another team being hurt.
Yep.
Tired.
Yep.
All that as well. So
I mean, I can say that there's probably a little jockeying for position, but the other part is that they may be just also in a thing that you're going to need your whole team coming into playoffs.
Yeah.
Like this is not something where you can turn around and say to 3 or 4 hugely talented, reliable guys.
That's where
the
depth comes in this team, though. We always talk about the depth on this team.
Absolutely right.
There's a lot of that there, and that I think is one of the advantages that they have over most of the teams.
Yeah, but right now when we're in a clinched position, and these games may or may not really matter a huge amount. I mean, every game matters, but maybe now is an opportunity to give some of your younger guys who don't have playoff hockey experience to give them a little bit.
Aiden Hughes in against Sioux Greyhounds there. I mean, that was a fantastic opportunity for him to perform.
And I think we're probably going to see a whole lot more of our younger guys playing a little bit of hockey in the last couple of games of the season. Let's get them up to speed because, is there a possibility we may need to count on them coming into the playoffs? Absolutely. And so, let's get them a little more action. Let's test them a little harder in the last part of this season so that we can get a little more out of them when we get into there. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Jay Peckham, thanks for being here as always. Sting getting ready to take the ice as the lights have been down and the intros are playing. Jay Peckham will be back second period for fan perspective. I think it's better that way because depending on what's happening, you got to stew it a little more.
I get it. You got to sell sponsorships.
I'm looking way down there when you start walking towards me to see what's going on. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Follow us everywhere on Twitter, especially at TVSN World, and Jay's on Twitter as well. Gestures Fun, and we'll see you first period. We'll have a special interview with our charity of the game here.
Yep.
And then again, Jay Peckham back here. Starting lineups out there on our Instagram and Facebook already as well if you want to check that out. And we'll talk to you soon. I'm David Burrows, broadcasting for the Video Show Network, and my friend Jay Peckham.
Go Sting, go!